handling your own fulfillment, if done correctly, if done with someone with experience, can accelerate the growth of your business.
Don't copy other people's stuff just because they're working. Your business has its own individual uniqueness, especially when you're starting off. If it's working for you, don't change it. Find ways to scale it, even if it feels slightly unscalable.
The best day is usually when you start a company, you're super excited, and those that are fortunate enough is exiting and selling that company. The stuff in between, if you're not going to obsess, and I mean truly obsess, live and breathe every crevice of your business, don't do it, because it's very, very expensive, not just financially, family-wise, emotionally. It's a big, big toll.
Focus on overselling, not overbuying.
All right, you ready?
Let's
Everyone
do it.
good?
Oh, all right. So John won that one?
No, I definitely won.
Last episode?
I got proof.
He's got proof. How are you gonna? What kind of proof do you have?
We just looked at TikTok in 2019. Gary Vee was talking about
What are you
TikTok.
talking about?
Why don't you just apologize for calling an It'd be so nice for you to do that.
You actually said he was ignorant.
And
too.
just say that I'm right as well while you're
No,
at it.
he said you were ignorant and you were an a-hole.
Oh, yeah. I think
said
there's
your
a lot of
and he called
apologize.
and he said your
being-
pants.
yeah,
And he
being
said your
called
pants are
ignorant
too
is
tight
way
and they
worse
look
than
like
being
yoga
called-
pants.
But maybe I would feel that way too if I was wrong.
I'm not
be
wrong.
fair.
I'm
You
not
were-
wrong.
you
You
were
were
wrong.
being ignorant and you were.
I was right.
So I would
I
never
am not ignorant.
apologize for calling a spade a spade.
Is it because he was leading edge?
Correct. Bleeding edge. Oh, I thought you. Were saying
meant
leading edge.
But you were arguing of leading edge, and then it went to bleeding, and you continued to argue.
Correct.
That was the.
Yeah. It's the same thing.
No, they're very
No,
different.
they are not the same.
No,
thing.
when you're bleeding edge
bleeding and
leading edge
are
is
way
very
different.
different. I do agree there,
No, but I'm saying my argument for both would be the same.
But it's not.
but they're not the
But
same.
I just showed you that the man called it in 2019.
Okay, Amir V. Let's have an episode. We can talk about how to avoid the most expensive mistakes first-time e-commerce founders make. You ready?
Let's do it.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the ASOM Pod, where we talk a lot. Ecom is the path that we walk a lot. From 4 point of views when we're talking shop. Amir from the agency and Jimmy from SaaS. John has an Android, but give him a pass. Cause he's an operator building brands like a carpenter. And that's Brian, he is the marketer. Like I said, this the ASOM Pod, where we talk a lot. Ecom is the path that we walk a lot. From 4 point of views when we're talking shop.
What is up, and welcome back to the ASOM Pod, a show about perspective from the eyes of an agency, SaaS operator, and marketer focused on D2C, e-commerce, and retail space. All right, let's go around the room and make some quick introductions. We've got the man, the leading edge man, John Roman, the Android-loving survival king. What's up, man? Are you leading the edge?
I'm the bleeding edge.
Oh, you're bleeding
I'm
edge.
bleeding edge always.
And then we've got Brian McDonald, the king of meat, self-proclaimed funniest dude on LinkedIn. What's up, bud?
What's up, dude?
All right. And then my name is Jimmy Kim. I'm the moderator, the brain, the man of the people, and the email dude here today. And if we're tuning into this pod and you want to hear more motivational speeches by Amir V, you can come join us at Commerce Roundtable, and that's in San Diego, September 22nd to September 23rd. Amir forgets that I'm the moderator and I direct how this show goes. So
I can hijack it. I'm really good at it.
I like how you fix the typo.
No, I read
you just,
through it.
But you just didn't read it.
Yeah, I just
Okay,
read through
I
it.
just
I did
saw
not
it.
put
I was
that
like,
in there. I saw the typo. I just
King
read
of,
through it.
yeah.
It was
Wasn't a typo.
Well, it wasn't a typo. It was someone putting something
was a
in.
type-
But anyways, guys, today,
Yeah.
I want to talk about mistakes.
Yep.
Because, dude, it's like the mistakes that people make in this market, especially at the founder entrepreneur level, there are a lot of the same mistakes that happen over and over again. And maybe if we can talk to people about these mistakes, they might listen for once. Probably won't. They probably will think leading edge, not bleeding edge. But like the reality is that these mistakes occur all the time.
Yeah.
And the only way that we can help the market is to make first-time entrepreneurs, early first-time founders aware of these different effects. So let's start with the simple thing. What do you think the most single most expensive mistake you've made when starting an e-commerce business? Will you start there?
There's my hand. So I used to be.
I like that, by the way.
The
It's
raising your hand.
very
very
respectful.
respectful.
Yeah,
right.
very demure.
Very demure.
Respectfully.
Yeah.
So I was against this when this podcast first started a year ago. Totally shifted mindset. And I think this is going to sound crazy coming from me. The single biggest mistake an entrepreneur can make, either in the beginning of their journey when they're taking off, right, or down the road, whatever the case may be, is handling their own fulfillment. And I'm going to explain why. I think handling your own fulfillment, if done correctly, if done with someone with experience, can accelerate the growth of your business, because you're able to utilize a different touch point with your consumers that a 3PL just can't, right? However, someone managing your own 3PL in-house, your own fulfillment in-house, it's very, very challenging. And I think it sets bad customer expectations if you can't handle, whether you have a viral video that goes off in the early stages and you have 300 orders come in. Eventually you can't get to the point where you can reach out to your customers and say, hey, we've been really busy. Your order is going to be a week delayed because so many orders came in on July 4th, right? Which is what we used to do, right?
Not my problem.
Because we weren't ready to scale with fulfillment in-house. But I don't even think people are ready to handle fulfillment at the early stages, because their time is spent fulfilling an already purchased product in a non-lever point of the business. Because at the end of the day, the hardest part is driving traffic and selling a product. The way in which it's delivered, I don't think is a lever that is relevant on the early stages of your business. And I think all of your time, effort, and energy has to be spent on the other pillars of the business. Fulfillment is a different type of business. It is not relative to your business at all. It is a different beast. It's a different animal. It is something that is very expensive to do in-house and challenging to do in-house. And oftentimes, if you're looking to cut costs down right away, your best rates are going to come through a center that does high volume. So if you're looking to expedite and not worry about the fulfillment process, cut your shipping costs down, which then in return can either bring you a higher margin or lower your price point to make it more approachable in the early stages of your business. The easiest way to do that is let someone else handle your fulfillment.
It's interesting, but I think you could argue both sides. Like for us, part of our secret sauce, right, is that our air rates on pick and pack and fulfillment are so much better than acceptable 3P when it's 1P us. Getting stuff out, right? Like we're talking about Whatnot. We're all looking at Whatnot, right? Remember we were looking at 3 days. So
Talk towards the mic.
He's so upset about.
I'm not upset at all.
Okay, you're just giving me the evil stink eye.
That's just his normal look.
So that's just his face. But like that one day, like little star thing that we have on Whatnot, like a 3P isn't going to get that done, right? It's just little things like that. But I think you're right. If you or your small team, if you don't have the core competency to do it, you are right. Then at that point, get it off and let the experts focus.
Yeah, because then you spend more time fulfilling product than you do selling it.
Yeah, if you don't have the ability to do it,
at the early stages, it should just be about traffic and selling.
Yeah.
What, Amir?
Okay, I raised my hand because I don't want to be I'm going to ask this question because I don't want to be ignorant. In your opinion...
Is the dead horse right here that you're beating?
I don't see any horses.
Yeah, because you're beating it.
It's a tofu
but
horse.
I'm serious, like, I get what you're saying, but a lot of entrepreneurs, when they start off, they do fulfill their own packages and ship them out. At what point do you think it makes sense to transition? Is it 50, 100 orders? And I don't think a lot of people are aware. Maybe you can share, how much does it cost to pay a 3PL to do it for you? Because it is a big time savings.
Yeah, so I think it's all about, like, I know at least when we went like deep in the weeds, if fulfillment is more than 25% of your weekly time spent on your business, as a unit of measure, then you're spending too much time on fulfillment. So that's where the cost analysis comes in, because now as a U.S.-based business, you have to pay payroll taxes, you have to pay insurance, you have to provide them benefits, you have to provide all these things.
So 25%. I'm trying to how do we calculate
so
that?
it's time? If it's more than 25%
of the company's time,
company's time in business is spent on fulfillment, 25%, then you should outsource.
Huh. It's interesting.
So that's not a metric that everyone can blanket. But if you're looking at your overall business, especially when you first started, say you have 2-3 founding members and it's 2 or 3 of you, and your total time, if you guys are spending it 50% on fulfillment, it's like, what are we doing here? And also now moving to a 3PL, right? Frozen's a little bit different because it's very expensive to do in-house. We have to buy freezer units. Our electricity bills go through the roof. We invested in solar years ago to cut those costs down. But the actual units are expensive. And then the actual people you need to employ, which is another reason why manufacturing isn't in the U.S. anymore, is because, hiring, especially in states like Connecticut or New York or whatever, Massachusetts, if I hire someone for $45,000, it really costs me as a business $60,000, right? A year, $62,000 a year before everything else, 401k matching, benefits, everything that comes involved with that, insurance, all of it. So it's number one, very expensive. And then number two, on the frozen side of it, you're dealing with your freezer space and your square footage, because now as you scale, depending upon what you're selling, now square footage is your threshold in regards to real estate capacity and expanding your business. So
the temp controlled stuff for you is a very expensive variable.
Very expensive
too.
Now us moving out, right? A lot of company I first started with, Target Sports, we were a 9-figure business, right? We had better rates than any 3PL were doing because we were doing more business than 3PLs were doing. So our rates through FedEx were tremendous. But with OMAs, it's different because you're shipping out 2,000 to 3,000 orders a month at a $200-something AOV. And then also the rates now will be getting anywhere from 20 to 30% cost savings per package. And also what they do on the dry ice side of it is they have a tool that says, Jimmy's a great example. His will ship out of Indiana most likely. What's the 3-day weather in Texas? And that AI will automatically tell the packing slip how much dry ice to pack in Jimmy's order, versus right now we have a blanket. Every 4 months we change dry ice terms based on what part of the country you're in. But if we're shipping to Florida right now, we're packing, say, 7.5 pounds of dry ice, but we're also packing 7.5 in North Carolina. Could be a 25-degree difference. We don't need 7.5 pounds of dry ice. So, and then also 3PLs, especially in our space, will do box optimization testing. And that occurs, that's going to shift our whole model with bulk boxes. A cool thing, which I can talk about in another podcast, where Oats Overnight does a really good job with this, where they force you into 3 bundles. You can't buy anything else besides 3 bundles. You cannot single purchase their pouches. You can't buy 4 of their pouches.
Little Spoon does that.
Little Spoon does that too, right? So it's like, hey, you can either get 12, 24, or 36, because those are their 3 curated boxes that are optimized for those 12, 24, and 36. So now you're saving on, with FedEx and UPS, are all dimensional shipping rates. So whether you have 7 pounds of product in a box or 38 pounds of product in a box, you're spending the same amount of money roughly per box to ship out. Where right now, it's like someone places a $240 order. Some of these guys in the warehouse, they sent Jimmy a box with what, 2 bricks in it?
One brick
in it. Well, that just cost us $18, right?
For a $20
and
price point
so,
product.
So the
and free shipping because I ordered so much.
Adam had our crew over in offshore do a report where, even with because right now we signed on, it's a 98.5% error rate, and Capri was like, oh, we have a 99.8 now. Adam's like, yeah, but Capri, look how much money we'll be saving in box optimization, dry ice AI services, reduction in shipping cost. I'll take a 95% error rate because I'm still going to save more money than it will occur in-house. So you have to look at cost savings based upon what you're trying to do to scale your business.
So as an example, we've looked at it a couple of times through the years. It's not a cost savings for us. Like it's significantly more.
Because you're also too, right? 3PLs charge per pick a lot of times. So if there's nine units in his box plus marketing material plus the box, there's 12 items that have to be picked.
Another crazy variable that's
he's got low labor rates too.
Yo, OmniSyn is back with some new swag. AI is now in the mix. Yeah, you heard that. Smarter and better. Let AI decide. Personalize every line. Take your brand worldwide. How about 24/7 support? MJ of basketball, but email to the sport. So sit back, relax, watch the magic unfold. Let the folks at OmniSyn get your story told. Tired of staring at blank pages? OmniSend AI doesn't hit you with writer's block. Their new AI writes your emails, personalizes content, and builds customer segments instantly. Just whisper who it's for, and AI figures out the rest. Join 125,000 users already winning with OmniSend's email, SMS, and push notifications. Backed by 24/7 amazing support. Visit omnisend.com today.
Yeah, I was gonna call that one. That's one, but with 1P versus 3P. So let's say there's 8 items in the box. Well, if one item, because there are 8 different vendors, comes in late, then we're gonna get hit with special project fees because it didn't come in on time for the entire thing. And special project fees are wild hourlies. Like, it could make us unprofitable in a box because one vendor was a day late. So
it's tricky, and you have a lot of SKUs too. You have a lot of SKUs, and they charge you per pallet. A lot of 3PLs as well.
Yeah, that was a really long explanation, but really healthy about fulfillment. I think that's really something that people are unsure of, and you see so many people who are doing fulfillment in their their kitchen.
Or garage.
Or their garage.
And I think to start, you have to. Like Amir said.
I think
you might have to at some point because you got to learn.
But eventually, if you're spending more time in your kitchen packing an envelope,
it's time to move over.
I think it was a good call. Like, quickly identify if it's not one of you or your partners or someone's core competency.
Yeah.
I don't think any fulfillment's anyone's core competency unless you've got a 3PL, right?
No, I think just operationally minded.
Like Patrick's really good with it.
Yeah. And Patrick didn't have the experience prior.
Yeah.
And it's a great example of, like, are you working for your business or are you working on your business? And you gotta be able to balance that.
Yeah, I like that too.
John, let's flip that same question to you. What's the single most expensive mistake you've personally made when starting your first business or your first e-commerce business?
There's 2 that I think of. One, personal. And 2, I see it a lot of times. So 1, on the personal side, we've talked about this on past episodes. Both Brian and Amir have both mentioned it independently. Is it's taking too much time planning and not enough time executing. Just spending way too much time instead of just going. The second thing that I see, and it's the downfall of so many companies at so many different stages, it's over ordering inventory.
Yeah,
it sucks your cash clean.
Inventory will kill you,
and it literally
kills most.
It's the number one. Like, cancer is the number one killer of, like, humans. Like,
sure.
Inventory is the number one killer of businesses.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I don't know if that's I made that up, but it sounds
it's true.
No, it sounds great.
It's the reason my brand suffered too. My brand, when I look back at the business and I look back at some of the mistakes we make. There's one mistake that I pinpoint always that is probably the biggest lesson that I've had, and probably one of the things. So when we went online in 2013 and we decided to build this brand online, we were doing the weekly drop model. We had clothes, we had boutique stuff, but each week we would drop a limited supply of our newest line and we'd go sell out of it, right?
Yep.
200
Had
pieces,
you made it yet?
Pieces. That week we'd make it and then we'd ship it and we'd sell it, right?
Okay.
It was kind of a last minute, like, we would start building like a month before because we were building locally in the US, and then we'd cut the clothes, make it, and then that Friday or whatever we drop the clothes, right? We'd sell out, and then the next week we'd do it, and then when we thought we did really well and there was a high demand on the stock list, then we'd restock it and then sell out again, right? So we had a really good model going on. So the mistake happens when you start watching other businesses and you start learning what other businesses are doing. And my biggest mistake and regret, I look back at it, was being in the apparel business. I was like, the other businesses are doing bigger seasonal drops. They're producing a clothing line for the spring, for the fall, for the thing with more SKUs, more colors, more options. And we looked at each other and at one point we're like, hey, if we want to scale this thing, we're obviously going to have to get more SKUs in business. And secondly, this whole thing is non-sustainable because we're going more and more units. We're at 100 units. Now we're doing 1,000 units a week. And, our cut and sew shops are yelling at us because we're making demands to get these things done. Like, maybe we should do this the proper way, the way that big apparel businesses are doing it. So we started shifting our model pretty quickly and said, okay, Black Friday, we're going to launch this brand new product and we're going to launch a collection, right?
And we did. And it did really well. So we're like, man, that worked really well. We're going to go do it again. So let's go in spring. Let's go bigger. This is our fatal mistake. In spring, we decided to go off and design this huge collection, 8 different shirts, colorways, all different sizes, 2-3 different styles, pants, shorts, all this stuff. And then we waited and we slowed down our weekly launches, losing the habits that we had built on our user base. And we went into this launch mode, and we did. We sold a lot of it. We didn't sell enough of it. We didn't sell out anywhere near it.
So leading up to it, you stopped doing your normal drops?
Yeah, we stopped doing our normal drops with the idea that we're going to drop these large collections, right? And we sold, we had a huge launch day, right? So there was not a problem there. The problem was before we were doing limited supply, selling out and running out of inventory and then restocking and then selling that back out, and we weren't carrying inventory. We learned a default hurting part of carrying inventory and hurting cash flow, essentially, right? We learned about being able to take cash flow and buying inventory, because when you're in apparel and you're doing your own cut and sew, 6 to 8 months before you're buying the fabric, right? Then you're getting it dyed, you're getting the colors, and you're buying the buttons, you're buying the tags, you're buying all that. Then you got to take it to the place and they've got to put it together. They've got to build patterns and they've got to assemble it and they've got to spit it out. And when you're doing this in the US, well, it's even more, right? Everything's exacerbated when it comes to cost. So what we learned really fast was it sucked up cash flow. 2, it lost the hype model train because you weren't able to hype it every Friday. There was nothing to hype. They already knew it came out. On Fridays, there was no more hype. 3rd, it killed future sales, meaning people were no longer waiting and anticipating and waiting for their paycheck Friday to make those purchases. They were just making all their purchases up front. So all future sales kind of diminished because they can get everything they wanted, right? Instead of feeling that. And then the last thing, I guess, that really came into place was because it changed the model of business, it changed the cash flow, the way the cash flowed in the business. And it changed the way that even though we weren't any more profitable in the launch model, the cash went out fast and came back in fast. With this new model, the cash went out fast and it came back in super slow. And that was probably the biggest learning. So the lesson that I learned and the biggest mistake that we took back as I look back and knew and how we failed at some of the things is don't copy other people's stuff just because they're working. Your business has its own individual uniqueness, especially when you're starting off. If it's working for you, don't change it. Find ways to scale it, even if it feels slightly unscalable. So that's the biggest lesson that I take back when it comes down to it. Cool. Well, I think the whole point of kind of starting off with some fun stories here is just get the mind rolling, because, mistakes are things that we do as it. And I think that there's a lot of things that we can talk about. And I'm not going to dive into all of these. I've got a bunch of notes here that I took for myself from, product selection to sourcing mistakes, manufacturers, platform and technology, marketing mistakes, customer acquisition costs, logistics mistakes, pricing mistakes. I mean, there's so many places that you could make a mistake. But what's a recent mistake? Or Amer, why don't we jump to you first? Amer, what's a mistake you've seen a brand execute on that you would say that you saw as a fatal mistake for the business, and it was more or less because they're first-time founders and making a poor decision?
I think it's depending on others for distribution. We worked with a company that came up basically with a machine for shaving cream. And their distribution model was going to go to basically go to distributors, sell to barbershops, and then get the exposure validation for the market from barbershops and take it from there. That was their only strategy. As soon as that failed, they had nowhere else to go. And they didn't have a plan B or a plan C. Now, I think it's always exciting for entrepreneurs where they can have a distribution partner. And no matter how wonderful that opportunity sounds, I think it's a huge mistake when you put all your eggs in one basket.
That's a pretty common first-time mistake. They fall in love with a single distribution point or someone who tells them they can do something, and they go all in, and then they literally have nothing once they've signed away on everything.
Yeah, and I think you always have to segment where your product goes, which channel. It's always easier to pull product for channel A to channel B or whatever the case is. It's always hard to look at channel A that's not working and then try to go chase and create new channels to distribute your. And a lot of companies that start off sadly, kind of similar to you, except it's in reverse. They'll take out their life savings or whatever the case is. The money all goes out fast to create product, to develop it, to ship it, and have it ready. And then you're trusting somebody else. I would like to say brands need to hold as much control in the beginning as possible to what they can. I know you can't control algorithms, you can't control organic
But you can
growth.
control certain aspects.
Yeah, but you can control the effort, at least, that goes into it. And now if every channel fails, that's a whole different problem. But when you put your eggs in one basket and that fails, I think it's heartbreaking to see.
Yeah, I think also, especially now, as someone who is either miserable at a 9 to 5, maybe they have, they're starting their brand on the side, off hours, and they're aspiring to be a scalable, massive brand that they see on LinkedIn or X. I think for 99% of the people out there is to don't fall in the trap of wanting to create a scalable business because others are. Create something scalable for you to leave your job and make a couple $100,000 a year. Like, there's people that go on Shark Tank that they won't invest in because they've hit this, we're doing $850,000 a year in sales, but we're netting $200,000. Mark's like, we don't want to invest in you. Keep doing that for the rest of your life. You're happy. You've built a scalable, profitable business. No one really talks about like how to treat profit anymore. It's always scale, sell, raise, scale, sell. Like, so the longer you spend on X and LinkedIn, the more out of touch in reality you'll become in being that 9 to 5 miserable employee and then trying to start a business to leave that 9 to 5, because I think it's a great opportunity for anyone to focus on scaling a profitable business and netting a couple $100,000 a year doing something that they love instead of chasing what they see, because they fall into the chase trap and now all of a sudden they either went bankrupt, their business went under, something occurred that happened when they were very happy netting $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year.
I think this is,
they scale for other people's reasons, not themselves.
yeah, but this is part of the whole fact that people or founders often ignore the data almost. They tout themselves as worrying about the top line and the bottom line and ignore the customer acquisition costs and different things that come into place, where those are things that people need to know. I mean, tell me, John, you probably seen this, and so have you, Amer, like, there's a lot of founders or early entrepreneurs that do not know their numbers. They have no idea. They only know their top line numbers.
We were just talking about this.
We were talking about this earlier today.
Yeah.
A very successful brand that I was chatting with them. We were having an issue. And I know that they very similar situation. So I thought maybe they would have some hindsight into it, because they'd been doing it a little bit longer. And I mean, if they're not in 8 figures, they're pretty close. I think they are in 8 figures annual revenue, and they don't do some basic stuff like monthly reconciliation on the accounting side. And I was like, well, what is your controller? Does your controller or bookkeeper accountant like not reconcile? And they were like, I don't even know what that is. It's like,
Wow.
so yes.
I think knowing your data and not investing into being a little bit more finance driven early on, I think this is something that early entrepreneurs make a mistake. It definitely was a lesson that I've had to learn over the years too. It's not like I can tell you that I was great at it. I always managed to float by and continue it, and I always hired a controller to help me do this stuff. But however, as a founder and an entrepreneur, a lot of the things that you do have to think about is becoming more financially literate. And not because it's important to be like a finance person and know all your book numbers. It's really just so it makes you want to be a little bit more data driven. And what I mean by that is know your numbers, know how much you're spending out the door and how much is coming back in, all your costs and your accounting. Like, I get it. Like, if your top line and your bottom line look fine, but a lot of times there's a lot of optimization in that middle side of things. And it's definitely a mistake that I see happen. And to your point about whoever this founder is that, you were talking about, to be almost at 8 figures and not be able to understand your own numbers and data points.
It's mind-blowing.
It's not only mind-blowing, they probably have a great product that potentially is part of it. But the reality is they're going to hit us really hard wall, and it's going to be a really painful wall they're going to hit.
And they might not make it, right?
And of course, yeah.
They're
because
in this,
of that.
They're in this mode in the boat, and the boat's going so fast that it has a massive hole, but it's going so fast.
Their
Water's
shirts
not
are
coming
off,
in.
beers are cracked.
Yeah, they are just
Yeah.
living their best life. But as soon as it slows down a little bit,
Yeah.
It won't
Yeah.
take much,
it's
right?
like that. You know that video? It's like some middle-aged people and like they start hitting. The
Oh, yeah,
thing,
yeah, and then they
the
fall
woman
left,
just
right?
goes-
Yes.
Yeah, and the guy's like,
Yeah.
like that. But that's their business.
But it's working right now.
Yeah, but then it doesn't.
No, I think that's definitely a misconception you see. What about marketing and advertising moves? Like, what kind of moves have you seen in the market? I think some of the moves that we've seen that first-time founders often happen is we've seen, personal ambitions and goals or political beliefs even cloud their judgment. I think we've seen that one happen before. We've also seen people just burn money recklessly, hiring the wrong agency or wrong team or having the wrong people and not paying attention. This kind of goes to financial literacy. What other ways have you seen people make big mistakes?
I think on the burning side, like the marketing spend, budget to revenue, you and I have had long discussions about this. Like, you guys are gonna obviously get that budget number's gonna start going up, but for us, our marketing entire budget is 12%, and I talked to some brands and they're like, "That's all you spend?" Like I'm like the crazy one. You see
That's
this
low.
25.
12 is low. I mean, I know
For, like,
nine-figure brands are spending 50-60% of their budget on paid advertising.
Which is that's
Which is
not
wild.
it's
But,
wild.
but this also goes back to Shark Tank. Another cool thing is that's one question they always ask now every episode, the past 3 seasons.
really,
And if you watch it, anytime anyone mentions like anywhere in the 30s, 40s plus,
Yeah.
they will not invest in them because there's no cash flow in the business.
It's hard to have cash flow in the business.
yeah, but
when
I
you're
think
doing
I
that.
think it
unless you
no.
got a really low price product.
yeah, but it's at those percentages.
I mean, you got like
it's
a
tough.
let's
Yeah.
say sub $5 cost to a $100 product.
If you're spending
Right.
half your top line on paid,
that's a problem.
yeah, that's
The math
not
here
great.
just doesn't
unless
The math doesn't
unless
math.
you're turning
the math does
profitable,
not
no,
math.
it wouldn't make sense.
No,
that
there's
you
no
would-
way.
Yeah, if
There's
you're
no
turning
way.
profitable Ross, like there would be no half of it. Yeah, you're
Right.
right. Huh. That's a good one. All right. How about team hiring? I think team and hiring is a big mistake
Yeah.
that you see on first time founders. I certainly have made some pretty big mistakes early on. And you know what my biggest mistake is always? And it was my earliest days, and I've talked about this before. It's just you hire people that aren't experienced enough early on because you have a budget or you have a reason or you want to give a guy a chance or a girl a chance. And, there's a place and time for that, but it's not early on when you're first getting
It
your
is
first
not
hire.
early on.
Yeah,
know?
you I forgot what your quote you said was, but you get what you pay for.
Yeah,
essentially.
you get what you pay for, exactly, especially in the early days. And I'd rather going back, the one thing I'd kick myself if I went back in time would be, man, just spend a little bit more money, sacrifice yourself a little bit and get that little bit more experience because it would have eliminated a lot of headache for you. The mistakes that they make and the challenges you have and you teaching someone when you don't even know what to actually do correctly.
Yeah.
What about you guys? Any other thoughts around that?
Yeah, so when we're talking about what the first hire, when and who, I mean, I think it's for me it's a pretty simple answer, and it's when the business can support it, financially, right? And when the business can support it, it's creating a role based on the things you're currently doing that are either the least enjoyed or the least out of your wheelhouse. And you get those off your plate so you can focus on the things that move the needle, that actually excite you, that you're good at. So as soon as the business can support it, you take those things off your plate.
That's a great example. When I first came to Oma's, Adam tried to handle the finance side of the business, running the pet food company and running e-commerce and marketing all himself. It started to grow a little bit, but it was pretty stagnant, but it wasn't going like it should have been, which then caused a ripple effect on, before I joined, entering retail too soon because ecom wasn't growing. So we have to go to retail. Well, they went to retail too fast and didn't have the right products in place, spent too much money hiring for retail because they saw that at the time as a channel that, hey, we can make some more, we can make some money in retail because ecom was neglected because the responsibilities weren't passed off to someone that could own it and run it. As soon as I came in and took that off of Adam's plate and started growing ecom, it allowed him time to do what he's very good at, which is finance, and looking at the retail side of it like, oh my God, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
We have 5 employees in
just spread
retail.
too thin.
We're burning 40, whatever it was, grand a month at the time. Like, what are we doing? But because ecom was taken off of his plate, he was allowed to do what he's very good at.
That makes sense.
So that's a big lesson, I think.
Set a fire to your past, but don't panic or fret. Live Recover is here, they'll take care of the rest. No bots up in here, just real humans with trust. Whatever you did in the past, leave it back in the dust. Make conversions are rising like your ROI. 6x your revenue, and that's not a lie. Sales team in your pocket, day and night. Bringing in-store vibes to your site, that's right. Your abandoned cart is missing the human touch. Live Recover adds real people to your texts. Live agents who chat with customers in real time, driving higher conversions and sales recovery. Setup just takes 10 minutes. Connect, chat, and convert. Just like that. Visit liverecover.com today and let them know Awesome sent you.
On the flip side, I think another place where entrepreneurs fail often is they don't fire fast enough. When there is a problem, there is a glaring
Hire issue.
issue.
Slow and fire fast.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why that happens. In fact, if we talk about that, that also probably to that statement you said, it's the single biggest mistake I see with a lot of fast scaling companies is they hire fast and they fire slow. It's actually the biggest problem that I see in the market, and they burn their cash before they know it really fast.
Yep.
So we definitely see that one. What about legal and compliance? Going back as your first time, right? Like legal and compliance when you're early on as a founder and an entrepreneur, especially in e-commerce, it's not really thought process in your mind.
No, it's not.
But going back, are there any expensive lessons that you have? Like, did you guys run into any compliance issues or ADA or any of this fun stuff?
So we launched February 2015. I think we got hit with our first lawsuit in late 2016.
Was it ADA or
No, it was out of California business statute regarding subscriptions.
Oh,
The entire thing was a shakedown, settle for $12,000 and we'll go away. But I mean, it's a lot of money.
That could eat you if you're first starting too.
Yeah,
Where you have
and
the cash.
it's one of those things. We're based in Georgia, so we had to get representation in California regardless. It's not on our radar, unfortunately, until it's an issue, and then at that point, when it becomes an issue, you have a decision to make. I mean, there's the line. I know some people. Chris George has a great story of them calling him early with Gentleman's Box, and he just told him to F off. Like literally, he's like, no, like F your face. Like I'm not paying. I'm not big enough. Like get lost, and they just went away. I mean, there's a world of taking that approach or taking the approach of explaining, hey, we're not big enough for this. Like go mess with the bigger fish. Like you're not going to get anything out of us. I think early on, and it's scary to say this, I'm not a legal expert. I'm not a legal expert. Yeah, until it's an issue, it's not an issue when you're just getting started.
Yeah, it definitely is, but is and isn't, right? Like, people think about it, they don't think about it. What other things can you think about? What other good mistakes do you have in your playbook or arsenal? What have you seen, Amer, that maybe mistakes that you've seen young founders or young entrepreneurs make that we can kind of help people avoid?
I think it's not making it. It's actually about not making it in reverse. It's not getting involved into communities with other entrepreneurs. I think we're all talking about like what to avoid, but there's also mistaken in what not doing certain things. And
so like a peer group, a support group.
Like a peer group, support group, friend or mentor, or whatever the case is, just to talk and to listen to other people. And I'm not saying like go to the support group or your mentor and do what they say, but like, for example, your mentor could be a person of high financial literacy, and that you can pick on certain things. There might be a mentor that you can find and they're willing to help you that's an attorney with compliance. And then there's like people like in this room that you can have conversations like, when did you switch to a 3PL? Or why are you not switching to a 3PL? Now you have two different perspectives and you can kind of go on a journey with them.
Then make your own assessment.
Yeah, make your own assessment, make your own judgments. And one of my buddies, Dennis, he runs an agency. He's part of a group.
Dentist? His name's Dentist?
Dennis.
Oh, that'd be kind of weird.
And he's part of this group. I actually never joined it, but he speaks highly of it. What they do in their group, and I really appreciate the way he puts it, is you will come in a circle like this and share whatever problem you're facing as an entrepreneur. No one will give you advice. They will only speak up to say, I faced a problem. This is what we did, and this was the outcome. They don't give you any advice. They don't give you anything.
Is this a three-letter word? Three-letter group?
I don't remember, honestly. It's slipping. It could be like
That's sort of how Creators was back then with Ryan too.
Yeah.
You state what's keeping you up at night, right? You state your win, but what's keeping you up at night, and your
it's
friction
the EOS.
points.
But I'm also I would say that, and I try to do this with myself. I would try to also remind those mentors or your peers, hey, give me these 3 things. Don't give me advice. I want to learn, but I don't want to hold you liable for the decision or say you made me go down the wrong road or whatever. Because every business, like you said earlier, operates slightly differently, and every decision is going to get impacted slightly differently depending on what somebody chooses.
Yeah, some are bleeding edge and some are leading edge. With that, manufacturer and supplier relationships, I never had a lot of issues with this, but I think it's because I never got into any large scale side of things. You guys are your own manufacturer, so you probably don't even deal with this. But John, do you have any advice for founders on manufacturer and supplier? Like any red flags, things that you've seen over the years that you guys are pretty quickly able to spot these days?
I mean, we definitely have some battle wounds. We've definitely, wired some money and then never heard from people again.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, a couple of times. I think we wired $40,000 to a manufacturer, and then their next response was like, "New phone, who dis?"
No way.
Yeah. I wasn't involved in that, but
Wow. Is that after it was sold the first time?
no, that was
Before it was sold?
before the first. I found out about after we had lost the money. No, I mean. No, I think there's value, honestly, piggybacking on what Amir said, when you're networking and you're talking to other people trying to accomplish the same thing, the value of a referral is worth its weight, right? So like if you can get referred to, if someone can say, hey, this is a good manufacturer, if you're not doing it yourself and you're looking to outsource that, I think that goes a long way.
Yeah, co-packers will make or break you too. I mean, same thing for us as a co-packer. We co-pack for 3 brands now. Smaller brands, yeah. So it's, as
Will you continue to do that?
As you, yeah, because you as a manufacturer, you want your machines to be running 24/7, 7 days a week. If they're not, then you're losing money. So you need your machines to always be running. You can never have them down, which is why places, that are like large scale manufacturers.
So you're saying 24/7, so like 3 shifts, like a constant.
Yeah, no, that's what we want it to be, right? We're when I first started, it was just I think it was like 6:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. and then it wouldn't run again until 6:30 a.m. the next day. Shut down on the weekends. But you need it to run to maximize your output, because think of that as being our machinery is, call it like $3.5 million worth of machinery. So you have a $3.5 million employee, and they're just sort of like sitting around for
they're a machine
week,
in it,
right?
so they can run 24/7.
So they can run all the time. So you need that machine to run. So we have like smaller batch brands that we co-pack for now, but I think the cool part is back to your referral and the manufacturing side of it, is whether you're looking for a co-packer, someone to make the product for you, whether you're looking for packaging or boxing or whatever the case may be, the referral to that goes a long way, because that is inventory and packaging and product will make or break, I think, your business early on. And if you're not aligned with someone that is good, number one, good, but number two, able to scale with you and grow with you, then you put yourself in a rough situation. It's not something that you should just Google and make phone calls and emails about. So I think manufacturing is one of the crucial things to utilize some sort of network to find, which is how people found us, because manufacturing isn't a Google search.
No. And,
Makes a lot of sense.
you know, when it comes to manufacturing something, it's not necessarily, you don't have to like, oh, I have to find the actual manufacturer. There's companies that what they do is they'll source it for you. They're adding something to the cost, typically a transparent fee, you know, adding 10% or whatever, and they'll handle the entire process for you, which is probably easier getting started anyway.
Sales tax stress, let Kintsugi slide. AI in your pocket, now enjoy the ride. 9 hours saved, that's time back and play. No tax guy needed, AI clears the way. Errors cut deep, not with this plan. 98.3%, my man. Click once, integrate, white glove, you'll see. Mention awesome, get 3 months for free. Sales tax headaches? Kintsugi AI turns tax chaos into something beautiful. The smart AI monitors, files, and optimizes your sales taxes automatically, saving customers 9 hours monthly while cutting errors by 98.3%. No expensive tax guy needed here. One-click integrations and white glove support. Mention awesome for 3 months free at trykintsugi.com.
What about scaling mistakes? So I want to flip into like costly mistakes that you see founders when they start hitting some scale the first time. What's a big mistake that you've seen, you know, outside of hiring too fast? That's probably the biggest mistake.
Going retail too early.
Oh, that's a good one.
I think going retail too early is something that we got caught in at Oma's. I think unless you have to be in such a great situation to go to retail because you eventually need to. I think for a lot of people,
that's the
right?
dream.
That's the dream. But it's going retail has become almost like an award medal facade on social media. It's like these people come into Shark Tank. They're like, 180 Walmarts just placed a PO with me, and then like now that you know the Sharks know their stuff, they're like, yeah, like doesn't really mean much to me. Do you have the cash flow to facilitate those large purchase orders? Can you afford a 90-day net pay term? Are you going to even sell through with these retailers? Because if you're not going to sell through and you're forking over all the cash on inventory, that could destroy your business overnight just because Walmart wants you in there. It's too easy to get into retail now, which is like, we've had big retailers come to us as a small brand because they want a piece of that frozen, pet food sector. We've had Whole Foods come at us. We've had Target. The issue is it involves so much cash flow that most people aren't ready for it. They're jumping into retail saying, oh my gosh, one of our friends isn't coming today because you're not ready for that if you don't have the cash flow for it, because it could literally destroy your business. And I think a lot of people see going to retail early as like getting a trophy, getting a medal. It's like Walmart called me, Target called me. It's like, dude, who cares? Joe can get into Walmart too. The issue is, can you facilitate and sell through your product? Can you facilitate the cash flow to wait 90 days? And will your product sell through? Because Walmart's not going to be selling your product for you, right? Which I think is the other facade with retail is once I get a PO with Target or Walmart, they're going to be selling my product. It's like, no. That's not how it works, right? True Classics just did an incredible, one of the better retail launches along with Dude Wipes that I've seen in a very long time. And they waited until they had distribution and they had a scalable business model with cost of goods. So True Classics just launched.
They have their own stores.
Have their own stores.
They're also on
Target.
Big
box. And then Costco, I believe, too, right?
They're
or
Costco,
Dude Wipes as well.
They're Target.
But a lot of them waited such a long period of time because they knew.
Dude Wipes or True
Both
Classic?
of them.
Yeah.
Together? They're like, it's a...
No, not together.
No. I'm just
They're
naming
separate.
examples. Right?
Okay.
Because, but what I'm saying is...
they're both in Costco now?
They're both in
Yes,
Costco. They're both in retail.
And True Classics has its own retail. Dude Wipes is everywhere in retail now.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
I mean, that is more of a retail play than it is direct to consumer. Anyway,
For sure. But what I mean is like the longer you spend on X and LinkedIn as well, the more retail driven you become early on, and you can run into a severe business destroyer because the late payment terms, the inventory cash flow that it requires, and you have to have an insane amount of already built distribution and brand equity and awareness to even consider going into retail before you worry about all the other elements.
So I think you call it out correctly. So if you look at 2022, 2023, 2024, which is the 3 years after the fallout and the renormalization of what e-commerce, direct to consumer really was once everybody wasn't locked in their homes. You had, and that's when we're talking post iOS, and we're talking CACs rising, and all these businesses all of a sudden being like, the ceiling's falling in. Everybody at the same time was like, oh, we got to figure out retail, and everybody's still trying to figure out retail. And for the last 3 years, that's what it's been about. But I think you're right. It's I don't know. I'm glad we definitely gave it an old college try, but we didn't spend the resources. We didn't make the hires. We're kind of trying to watch and wait for the right opportunity. And I'm kind of very, very glad we didn't, because it's a very risky move.
Yeah, and that's why we pulled back. We got rid of a lot of our sales force, right? We had to reconstruct our product offering and price points, our margins. You have to have a very high margin product. I don't care how much you sell. Oh, we sell 80 million in Costco. What are you making? Maybe 800 grand? Because the fact is, you don't have a high marginal product and you're floating cash flow over these cycles, it screws everything up if you're not selling through quickly. And a lot of people don't understand that. So I think before you decide to go into retail, you have to take a step back and truly understand what it involves, other than that trophy that someone placed a PO for me.
John, what else you got for scaling founders that you've seen as a big mistake, or maybe Ameri's got something?
One mistake I've seen people do repetitively, so large retailers are really good at this, is doing inventory at least once or twice a year. I often talk to entrepreneurs and they'll tell me, oh, we did inventory for the first time in 2 years.
What do you mean do inventory?
Like you count how much you have on
wow.
hand. Yeah.
Do inventory.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Literally counting. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And a lot of brands don't do it. And then sometimes I'll be on the phone and somebody will say, oh, I just found $300,000 sitting in my warehouse and I counted for.
That's insane. We do. So we do. I believe we do cycle counts.
Yeah. That's what we did.
And then at the end of the year, though, we do
Final year.
Yeah, final year full audit.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
Yeah. You shut the warehouse down for a day, go through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With third party auditors.
Yeah.
It's part of the fun.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Wrapping this thing up, right? Someone's launching their first e-commerce business next month. What's the one mistake that they should be vigilant about avoiding when they start? What's something you guys can give somebody as one thing to really think about to avoid? What's a landmine that they might hit?
I would say when you first start,
brand new,
you're it's so easy to get discouraged. You're going to hear, even though we talked about the product market fit thing before, you're going to get more resistance than you are support. And I think it's important that if you truly believe in what you're building or selling, and you really truly believe it's the right product and the right whatever, you're going to face a lot more resistance in the early days than you are support. And it's important to go in with an open mind that this isn't a family get together, everyone hypes you up all the time, or hanging out with your friends. This is a journey in which you can't give up right away, whether you're talking social media, paid ads, you're talking your Shopify website, whether you're talking any sort of structure that you're implementing, you're going to face a lot of resistance in the marketplace. And it's important to always keep an open mind and evolving and growing and going. I always say, in order to finish a mile, you have to actually walk or run. So you can't really stop during a mile.
This is a great motivational speech, Brian, but the question I asked was, what was the one expensive mistake that should be vigilant avoiding?
He's getting it.
I thought it.
I'm ready to
right.
put me in, coach. I'm ready to go.
I'm ready to play.
I'm talking about an expensive mistake.
Okay.
Mistake.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
it's something simple like don't order too much inventory.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this question got a lot easier.
You ignorant.
Yeah. Holy smokes, Brian.
Amir, what's your one expensive mistake lesson?
Okay, I'm gonna do one that is.
Can we do it in 7 words?
No, we can't. But it's worth listening to. You want to go in 7 words? Go ahead.
Go ahead. 7 words.
Just
do it.
Post the content.
Boom. Okay.
4 words.
4 words. Can you beat that?
No, I can't.
Go ahead, Amir.
No. What I want to tell everyone is being an entrepreneur and starting your business.
Most expensive mistake.
It is
Okay,
starting a company
Okay.
is the most expensive mistake you will make. It's kind of like owning the
So
boat.
you're saying starting a company is the most expensive mistake you'll make?
For most people.
Okay.
Because I think my thing is
Yeah. Wow.
so no, it's honest.
Yeah, I mean,
listen.
but
hear
for
me
the
out.
7 words thing, I was going to take a very similar approach. So
Okay,
go.
yeah, sure. It's like owning a boat. A boat owner, their best day is when they buy a boat, and their second best day is when they sell a boat. Because most boat owners don't actually enjoy their boat and in the process of owning it. Same thing as being an entrepreneur. The best day is usually when you start a company, you're super excited, and those that are fortunate enough is exiting and selling that company. The stuff in between, if you're not going to obsess, and I mean truly obsess, live and breathe every crevice of your business, don't do it. Because it's very, very expensive, not just financially, but family-wise,
work-life
emotionally, health, everything. It's a big, big toll.
Yeah, don't do it because you think it's going to be easier than the 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Because I've done the 9 to 5.
That's not one
too.
mistake. That's one huge mistake. But I guess like I get what you're trying to say.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Don't do it for the wrong reasons. Do it because you want to, and or you
obsess over
just
it.
or you just have a problem. Like the way I look at myself is I have a problem I don't know, and I'm also unhireable. Meaning like you guys would all fire me if I work for you because I'd be terrible.
7 words?
I got
Got it.
focus on overselling, not overbuying.
Boom.
Whoa.
That's
With
a
that-
hot take.
Yeah.
With that,
I mean, with that, that's a wrap.
That's a
Right?
wrap.
That's a wrap.
Yeah.
In
For-
this amount of time, I'm known as the smartest thing you've ever
for
said.
the Android loving survival king John Roman, for the Prince of Motivation, Amer Grosnich, we've got the meat lover, Ryan McDonald.
He just
Usually-
loves the meat.
He just loves
because I think I ruined it. Say it one more time. We should exit with those words.
Just remember, folks out there, these 7 words, I'm talking to you. Focus on overselling, not overbuying. That will lead you to the promised land.
I'm Jimmy Kim,
And you'll be there.
And with that,
And for those
We're out.
reasons, I'm out.
see you guys later. Adios.
Welcome to the ASOM Pod, where we talked a lot. Ecom was the path that we walked a lot. But now the question is, will you subscribe or not? Ha!